Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Alka.
Ma'am, Nandita ma'am is also here.
Good evening, good evening. I'm sorry, I'm still in school trying to find a quiet corner.
It's okay, ma'am, no problem.
Nandita ma'am is from GEMS.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, first we'll play a video of Amrita and then we'll start the session.
All right. I'm good.
Okay.
Alka, there are people in the waiting room.
Ma'am, were you saying something?
Yeah, I can see 4 people waiting. Shall I?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we'll enter. Good evening, everyone. I am Alka, and I would like to warmly welcome all of you to our parents' counseling session today. We are honored to have GEMS International School as our host school, and we have with us Ms. Nandita Karai, the principal of GEMS International School. And we are fortunate to have Ms. Shibi Anand, the founder of Enable L&D platform for children and AI teacher community. She is a mentor of change, Atal Innovation Mission, Niti Ayog as a resource person. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you and good evening, everyone who has joined us this evening at 4 o'clock. It's not a very free time for most of you, but still I could see a lot of people joining in. So thank you so much for joining in today for this session. And of all that Alka has introduced about me, the only thing I want you to remember is that I am a mother and an educator from past 20 years. So whatever I'm going to share here today comes from my own experience of dealing with children. So if I may, I'll just start sharing my screen. And Alka, if you could let me know whether you're able to see my screen.
Sure, ma'am.
Yes, you're able to see the screen.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay. Now, since this is an online sessions and an online session can be only effective if I have my participants participating in this. So whoever has joined us from wherever you have joined, if you could just drop at present, where are you joining us from? Just a word, where are you joining us from? It could be, yeah, thank you so much. Wherever you are joining us from, just the place name would do. And I hope you're all able to see my screen. I got one response as Bangalore. Yeah, you could see me. Jabalpur. Wow. Okay, fine. West Delhi. Great. Myanmar. We have people joining across the world, I believe. So I just have one request to all of you. You may be at different places joining us right now, but I want you to realize, how are you feeling right now? Before we start the session, I want you to tell me in the chat box again, along with the place names if you wish. At present, how are you feeling? Now, if you want, you can take a little bit of help from those emojis and, the words over there can give you the clue, but you can write your own. Right now, wherever you are, I want you to realize how are you feeling now? And just write that word. For example, I'm curious right now because I want to know how all of you are going to take what I'm going to share with you today. So I'm feeling curious. So excited. Lovely. All right. And what about the others who have joined me? I would derive energy from you and your experience because I'm not able to see you. So the only way I can derive energy is by, looking at your responses that comes in the chat box. Okay. So I have one person who said excited, and I believe all the others are looking forward to whatever is going to be shared from here. Nandita ma'am, would you tell me how are you feeling right now? Yeah, thank you, Mridula ma'am. I'm also excited. Thank you. How are
Yeah,
you feeling now? It was a busy day for you today.
yes, it was, but I'm like extremely curious and extremely excited to be part of this session.
Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. And I want to start today's session with a very small, simple activity whereby I want you have to take both your hands like this, and you see this half moon in your hands. You will have to keep your hands like this, so that these half moons merge and then make a folded hand. I'll repeat this once again. Okay, you'll have to take your both hands, make sure that you align in such a way that line just under your palm, which we call this half moon, is merging, and then you fold your hand like this. Is everybody with me? Have you got a folded hand? Now, those of you, thank you, Rava ma'am. So, okay, so those of you who are having a folded hand, I want you to observe the middle finger of one of the hand is slightly longer than the other hand. Okay, so you'll have to identify that particular hand which has got its middle finger slightly longer than the other hand. For me, it is my, right hand is shorter. You have to identify the one which is shorter. I make a correction. I want you to identify the finger which has got shorter. So somebody said left hand, which means that was longer. So your right hand is shorter. Just take that hand, keep it in the front, and just for now, believe me. Okay, just for now, believe me. Believe that I know this art of magic, and just say, grow, grow. I see my fingers growing. Grow, grow. I see my fingers growing. It's growing. Just say, I know it sounds very funny. Just believe me for say 30 seconds and say this on your own. And if you have genuinely said it, then I want you to again repeat the same process and keep the folded palm like that and see what happens. And I want you to tell me in the chat box what has happened. All those who did this with me, I want you to observe what has happened and tell me, oh, it looks same. Great. Oh, wow. So does that mean I know a little bit of magic? All right, it's equal now. So most of you feel that your fingers have really grown just by saying that grow, grow. I see my fingers growing. Now, you know what has happened right now? Thank you, Mridula ma'am. Your fingers have not grown, but your mind has believed that it has grown. So what I want to start this session today is by telling you that I'm not here to change you as a parent or as a teacher. I'm just here to share whatever little bit of experience that I have as a mother and as an educator for past 20 years. And whether you believe that or not is totally up to you. It's your choice. Okay. So let us start today's session. It says effective parental involvement for a holistic growth of a child. And I want to know if there are any teachers here. I know Nandita ma'am is here. I was told that this is for the parents, but if there are any teachers who have joined us from anywhere, just put it on the chat box as a teacher. Oh, so we have few teachers as well. Okay. Shaji sir is a teacher. Welcome, sir. Good evening. All right. So I have a few teachers as well. All right. So the topic for today, I have a lot of teachers. So are you teacher parents or your teachers? Your teacher parents or your teachers? And I have parents also. Okay, fine. So the topic today that was given to me is effective parental involvement for a holistic growth of a child. So as far as teachers are concerned, we always try to focus on the whole child. Okay. So that's the agenda that I have today. But why are you here today? What is that you want to take away from this session? So as the session progresses, you could just type in the chat box, what is your expectations of today's session? Meanwhile, I'll share with you what is that I have planned for you. Okay. In this workshop, I want you to understand the importance of parental involvement in a child's holistic development. That's one. I want you to learn effective communication techniques for building strong parent-child relationship. And I also want you to explore strategies to promote positive discipline and establishing boundaries. I want you to discover the different ways you can support and encourage your child's social and emotional well-being. Explore to foster a love of learning in them. You have to gain some insights because we are all working parents most of the time. So how do we bring balance into our life? And also try to develop a personalized action plan for an effective parental involvement. So this is my lesson plan for today. Now, depends on how you lead me, the session will go. I always say that I'm a teacher who go with my students. So if my students lead me to something else, I would go accordingly. And if my students want something more from me, they're always welcome to ask me. So this is basically the layout of the session. And we have around 45 minutes, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so this is the disclaimer that I want to put across to everyone. I see actually two hands being raised. So are these hands being raised because you have some question right now or you have some concern? Nurul and Umair, Alka?
Yes, ma'am.
Are these hands just raised by default or there are two people who have raised their hands. So are they having some issues or is there some question that they want to ask?
Ma'am, they can write it in the chat box.
Right. So please, you can put whatever concerns that you have in your chat box. And as was, yeah, thank you so much. All right. So this is going to be a mutually learning experience. All right. This is going to be a mutually learning experience. And I would like to say as a disclaimer that parenting does not come with a manual. And a parent is born when a child is born. So it's through our personal experience of trial and error method that we find out what works well for our child. All right. And as teachers also, if there are 40 children in our classroom, all 40 of them come with different personalities. They're very, very different from each other. So as teachers, when we get to know them, we find out, okay, this method works for this child, but this may not work for this child. So as according to NCF and NEP, we have to provide a learning that is equity based or something that we can inclusive, an education that is inclusive. So whatever we are going to say, take the points that are relevant to you and feel free to ignore the ones that do not work for you and your child. So no one size fits all is that I would like to tell you, right? So going to the next part of this session, what does the holistic development means? Most of my teacher friends over here know the answer for this, that what is holistic development? But still for the parents who have joined us, I would just like to tell you that it's just the overall growth and well-being of your child in the physical, cognitive, emotional, social, and the moral aspect. Okay, that is what we mean by holistic development. So as a parent, we know that education is like a triangle. We have three main stakeholders. We have the parent, we have the child, and we have the teachers. So all three stakeholders are very important for the overall well-being and the holistic development of a child. Okay, as I am going through the session, if you have any questions or query, please feel free to communicate to me through the chat. I'll keep a track of the chat box also. So these days, there is a lot of emphasis on a whole child learning or a whole child development. So the physical development, cognitive development, which refers to the thinking, learning, and problem solving, emotional development, social development, and moral development are not different blocks. Okay, they are all interconnected, and all of these together forms the whole child. So as a parent, as a teacher, as a child, we need to focus on all these five aspects of a child if we want our child to grow up as a whole child. Okay, that is what we want. So that is what holistic development is. Now, why do you think the involvement of parents are important in the, holistic development of a child? I know many of you would be thinking, what is a good question to ask? If it is not the parent who is going to be involved in the growth of a child, absolutely right. It is first and foremost the parent that needs to get involved in the development of a child. Okay, we always say in our Bharat culture that Mata Pita Guru Deva. So the first person who a child encountered are his or her parents. So it's very important that the parents' involvement is there as far as a child is concerned in the different phases of their life, because it also helps in their emotional and social well-being. That's the first thing that I have kept in talk for a reason, for their overall development. It's because for every child, their parent is a role model, be it their father or be it their mother. They look upon their parents. Okay, it is very important for a child to have a support at home if you want your child to excel academically or to do well academically. And when you look at children who have grown in a balanced family, who have grown with parents, with loving and nurturing parents, you will see that they have done well in their life. I'm not talking about success in terms of money alone, but in the overall way the child has developed and grown as a human being. Okay, and definitely all of these comes down to the physical well-being of the child also. So it's very, very important to establish a strong parent-child relationship so that your child, grows up to be a human being with a good mental health, good resilience power, and a good life and a good citizen overall. So if there is anything that you want to talk about, please put it in the chat box, or else we'll just go ahead with the next part of that. All right, I would like to tell you a very short story as far as this parent-child relationship is concerned. At one place, there were two people. One was a retired professor and another was a bank officer. So this bank officer was a very young man and the professor was a retired fellow, and they were both staying next to each other. One day they went to the market and bought 4 saplings of plants each. Okay, the young man also bought 4 saplings and the old man also bought 4 saplings of plants. Now, after they came back, they used to take care of these plants very regularly. Whereas the old man used to water the plant as and when it was required. The young man used to take care of the plants by giving them water every day, nurturing them, and obviously because of which his plants look a little more greener and a little more, healthier. So the days passed by and suddenly in their area, there was this heavy rain and storm. And the next day, when they both stepped into their garden to check out how their plants were doing, surprisingly, the plants that were so carefully looked after and nourished and water, they were all uprooted. Whereas the plants that got water just as much as necessary, the professor's plant were still surviving. So this man got very upset and he goes and asks the professor that why is that despite taking care of my plants so much, my plants did not survive the storm. Whereas yours, you only gave them water occasionally, but still they survived. Why? Any answers for this question? Why do you think the plants of the professor survived and the gentleman who nourished and watered it regularly did not survive the storm? Any answer? You can put it in the chat box. Why do you think the young man's plants got uprooted, whereas the old man's plants survived? Any answer? That's an interesting answer. Yes. Anybody else who would like to tell me? I'm receiving a lot of energy from you, ma'am. I hope it's a ma'am, Rama ma'am. I'm receiving a lot of energy from you. Thank you so much. So the reason why the plant of the young man got uprooted, whereas the professor's plant were strong enough to you should make children rough, tough, and independent. Overcare, overprotection doesn't work. Absolutely right. Whereas the professor took care of the plant just as much as necessary, not overdoing it. And whereas the young man overwatered, the plants. So the plant root did not go deep. Whereas for the old man, if the plant roots need to survive, they need to go deeper into the soil to get that water and nutrients, and they become stronger and they could survive the storm. So our children are also like that. How much of what is necessary should be given to us? In today's world, parents are afraid of saying no to their children. Whatever their child asks, everything is being fulfilled. Everything is being, it's because probably we may not have had it when we were younger. So we want our children to have every facility, everything in their life. And that is why they are so fragile. They are they find it so difficult to face life challenges, little failures. Correct me if I'm wrong. But building a strong parent-child relationship is not just about giving our children all our love and support and care and giving them everything that they demand from us. It's not that. It is when your child wants to talk to you need to listen to them. I have two boys. The older one is in college and the younger one is in school. And I know the difference between how much and what all they come and tell me and how often they tell me. When your children are younger, they would come and throw hundreds of questions at you. They are so curious. They want to, know why this is like this, why that is like that, why can't they do this and why can't they do that? And sometimes we get very irritated because maybe we are very consumed with our work. But for a parent, the best thing to build a relationship is to spend time with them and to give them your undivided attention. Showing them that you're interested in what they are going to share with you is very, very important. And when they communicate, please refrain yourself judging them, trying to tell them that, okay, it's not like that. This is like this. Do not jump into conclusions. Just let them share. Know the age difference between you and the child. Okay. Sometimes your children would come to you quite distressed. They consider you as their safe space. So they come and tell you things that they wouldn't tell anybody else, especially when they are young. So at that point of time, if you shut them out, if you judge them, if you just tell them, okay, this is wrong, or you cannot do this, or you cannot feel it like this, they're never going to come back to you. They will learn to keep their secrets. They will learn to find people who are more open to them. And you're putting your child into a world out there full of strangers who are so easy to please. So please make sure that when your child comes to you, you listen to the child actively. Do not judge them. Let them feel what they're feeling. Their feelings are valid. Their feelings are genuine. Okay? And please, just because he or she is a child, do not order or boss around them. Speak to your child in a very respectful, because you are the role models. They are watching you. Okay? They are seeing how my parents are behaving with me, with the Didi who is coming to work at home, or the waiter who serves you in the restaurant. Everything is being carefully observed and taken a note of in the mind and in the heart. And also, a very good way of establishing a good bond with your child is let them solve their own problems, even from a young age. Small problems like, deciding what to wear, how to study, when to study, all these small little life's problem, let them solve. Do not solve it for them, or do not tell them how to solve it. Okay? They would make mistakes. If you take a young child to a park, you would see that the child is bindas. He will go and get into all kinds of rides because he's not afraid. But if you put a teenager into a very uncomfortable space, he or she is very cautious. They are very self-conscious. They wouldn't try out things just because they don't know how others are going to look at them. What will other people think or say or do if I do this? I'm sure that my teacher friends over here would agree to the fact that when they go to younger classes, they would see all the students, very close, sitting close to the teachers. But as they grow, you silently see them growing backwards. That happens with us adults also. Sometimes we're not very confident of sitting in the front row of a place where, if we are going for a meeting or if we are going for a session or anything, we just leave that front row as if somebody special is going to join us on that day. That's because of our conditioning by the society when we were very young. Okay, and we lost our self-confidence and self-esteem. And we think that people would question us and ask us something if we sit in the front row. And if you're not able to answer that, it's quite embarrassing for us. So our adult ego comes into picture. All right. And another very important point that I want to say for establishing a parent-child relationship is any time of the day, whenever you and your child is fully available to each other, make it a device-free time. Okay, make it a device-free time. You will also not use your device during that time, and your child will also not use the device during that time. That time is purely meant for family to share how the day went, probably share something that did not go well for you or something that you want. Yes, absolutely. A quality time, a circle time. Thank you so much for giving me that word. A quality time. Quite often that our children are talking to us and we're just going through the devices, or probably we're responding to some mails that we need to send across. No, your child's time is your child's time. So you must set aside that time for your child. So please take out some device-free time. So active listening, open and non-judgmental communication, empathy and understanding, clear and respectful communication, effective problem solving, and a device-free time is a start to building a strong parent-child relationships. There are many other aspects that you can bring into this particular slot, but I've just kept it a minimum of 6, and you can just get started with this. All right. I want everybody to listen to this song. I think I need to go uh, back to the normal mode in order for you to listen to this song, right? Just let me know if you're able to, or I think I've put it in another tab. So I just go back there. Are you able to see my screen changing?
Yes, ma'am.
Can anyone give me a thumbs up if you're able to? Anybody? Alka, are you able to see?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can see. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. So you can see it's just coming up. I think it's because of my internet. Probably it's just taking a bit of time. Give me a minute. I want you to listen to this song, and especially it's okay. I'm not able. I want to just.
When we were kids in the backyard, playing astronauts and rock stars, no one told us to stop it, called us unrealistic. Then suddenly you're 18, go to college for your plan B. What you want is too risky. Live for weekends and whiskey. We all got these big ideas. One day they're replaced with fear. How did we get here? Darling, don't quit your daydream. It's your life that you're making. It ain't big enough if it doesn't scare the hell out of you. If it makes you nervous, it's probably worth it. Why save it for sleep when you could be living your daydream? 31 waiting tables. She has the voice of an angel. Out of money, power.
Okay, I want you to listen to the rest of this song, probably on your phones. I can see on my screen that because of my internet connection, you're not able to hear it clearly. Is that so?
Ma'am, it was clear.
Oh, it was clear? Okay, it kept
Yeah.
giving me a message saying that it's not clear, but I
Ma'am, it
really,
was lagging a little, but
yeah.
yeah.
All right, fine. The song is called A Daydream, and I want every parent and every teacher to listen to this song because you would be able to relate to this. Okay. I am just going to reshare my screen because seems to be a small issue with my presentation. Just give me a minute. But I want you to know that, you will relate to this song because when I heard this song for the first time, I could very well relate to this. And it's true that when we are younger, we have big dreams, and even if somebody tells us that that's not possible, we probably do not believe in them. But as we grow, we slowly start believing in what other people tell us. And we start accepting that, okay, we are meant to be inside the box. And that is what we pass on to our children also. So I want everybody to understand. Earlier, we used to say that live as if there is a box, but out of the box. Now we say live as if there is no box. Okay, do not restrict yourself and your children. Let them dream because life is not a straight path. Many of us think that, okay, after we do school, then we do our graduation, then post-graduation, then we'll probably get into some jobs or start a business, and things are set for us and we are settled or stable. How many of you who have joined me here can confidently say that you are stable and settled and very content? Not content, contentment is different, but stable in your life. How many of you think? at this age that you're quite settled in your life? If you are, just put a yes into the chat box. If you're not, just put a no in your chat box. Yeah, it's quite happy to see that you are quite stable, right? So I have a lot of people here who say that, yes, you're stable. Not everybody is as lucky and as fortunate as these people and think that, okay, we are settled in life. Life gets settled only when you go. Till the time you're alive, there will be definitely highs and lows. There will be times where you think that, okay, I could do this better or that better. Maybe I want to try this, I want to try that. Same thing applies to our children also. Also, I'm very happy to see that many people who have joined here in this session are quite stable. It's happy. I'm quite happy to know that you're all happy and stable and settled in your life. Thank you, Punita ma'am, for giving me that encouragement that you are learning, because I'm learning too. At 40, after 19 years of a very comfortable job in a very good school, I quit my job to find out what else can I do? Where else can I go? And who all can I touch and make a difference? So at this age, I'm still figuring out what is that I want to do with my life. So how can we tell our children that, okay, you have to study this, 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 this? Oh, wow. You have to go study this, this is, and you want to be settled in life forever. That never happens. So do not tell our children that line and don't put them under stress of, settling down. All right. Life is meant to be a little tough, rough, and they're always learning. So some strategies that I want to promote for, the moment you say discipline, there is this word that comes to my mind. That is someone who's very strict and stringent. Okay. Discipline is not about that. Discipline could also be about establishing boundaries, negotiating with your children to find out, okay, this is acceptable, this is not acceptable. This we can do, this we cannot do. And if we do this, in spite of this, we are responsible for the consequences that we face. So some of the strategies that you can try out is allow your children to make decisions. Allow them to be independent. Let them make the decision. After you brief them about the entire scenario, let them take their own decision. And if that decision goes well, congratulate them. If it goes wrong, ask them what are some of the things that they can learn from what has happened and make corrections and take that as learning points and go ahead. All right. So clear and consistent expectations as far as when you're setting boundaries, when you're setting discipline for your child, you have to tell them, don't tell them, don't do this, don't do that. Tell them why you don't want them to do this, why you don't want them to do that. You have to clearly tell them your expectations. Please communicate to them. Okay. And in case if your child goes ahead and does something, despite you telling them not to do it, tell them that whatever consequences comes because of that action, they are supposed to face that. So natural consequences will be part of their decisions. Ask the children or help the children to learn to reflect on the experiences whenever possible. I've always said this and always believe that teachers and parents are models. Children actually watch us. They don't listen to much of what we are saying, but they see what we are doing and how we are doing, and they connect to us based on that. So model appropriate behaviors. Whenever your child is not able to sort out something on his or her own, try to join the child and give some insights to the child or some support to the child so that the child is able to solve the problem on their own. And be always flexible with your rules and regulations because you're making it for the child and for the well-being of the child. So if some of your rules have to be molded and bended at some point of time, be willing to do that. Okay, so these are some of the ways in which we can bring discipline and establish healthy boundaries between our children and us. Social emotional learning, or social emotional well-being. The first activity that you did by sharing how you felt when you were in this session, as a part of social emotional well-being. So as teachers, when you go to your classrooms, the first thing you need to know is whether your child is ready to learn. What kind of a state of mind that child is. It would take you a minute or two to find out. You can establish your own class routine. And as parents, before we tell them something, we need to know how our children are feeling emotionally. So it's very important to give them a nurturing environment, to tell them that they are enough and they're good and they don't have to compete with anybody else. And you love them for just who they are. Okay. Also establish good relationship with their peers, with their friends, teaching them how they can resolve conflicts. Because in Indian society, we have this notion, if there is somebody who does not disagree with us on something, that person doesn't like us. No, it's not like that. Disagreeing to something does not necessarily means that we do not like the other person. It's just that we disagree to that particular concept or that particular idea. So conflict resolution is very, very important. So please teach your children that. Support your children's social skill, like again, active listening, communication, cooperation, and problem solving are some of the social skills that are very, very important in today's world. Empathy and kindness goes without word. You need to teach your children to be empathetic and kind, not only just to humans, but to all the beings in the planet. That's the way they can go forward. That's the way we can have a kinder world. And sometimes when you struggle in dealing with your children or seems a little lost, either check with a professional who can help you in coming out of your problem, or somebody whom you really trust and who is equipped to guide you on this particular issue. Okay, so these are some of the ways you can foster your child's social and emotional well-being. And as adults, as parents, sometimes when our children come and tell us something which is actually a grave concern to them, as parents, we get emotionally attached to that problem that they're sharing, and we get quite anxious. But when our children come to us with anxious mind and heart, we are supposed to share our calm with them and not join their chaos. So on your screen is a few few ways of saying things to your anxious child. You could say, okay, I understand you feel this way, but you're safe with me. You can read everything that's written on my screen. So I'm not reading it again to you. The whole idea is share your calm. When your children are sharing their most deepest secrets with you, do not get emotionally entangled in it just because he or she is your child. Try to detach yourself from that and try to give your calm and love and support to the child who is at that present time needs your support. So that's very, very important. All right. Now, if you would like to bring a whole child development, the child needs to be exposed to learning. The child needs to love learning. And learning does not always happen inside the school or with the textbooks. It could be anywhere, anytime, with anyone. So please, display yourself being a learner. Always try to upgrade, update, relearn, and upskill yourself. Your children see that, they pick it up. You create a learning environment at your homes or your schools and make learning fun. Do not make it something, okay, you learn this, I'm going to put an assessment based on this. Or, you do this and then you're going to be rewarded for this. No, not like that. Make sure that learning is something that they do because they want to do it. Okay, you have to bring in ways to incorporate learning as a fun activity for them, encouraging curiosity and inquiry mindset. Okay, allow the children to question, allow the children to come out with their own conclusions, their own ideas, their own way of getting things done. And, every child is different. So if somebody else's child is getting all A1s or getting all 90s, or is preparing for probably becoming a doctor or an engineer or a CA, and your child do not have any of those aspirations. He wants to be chef, somebody wants to be something else, an astronaut, probably a researcher, a psychologist. Do not discourage them. Okay, please allow them to pursue what they like and what they love. Whatever little progress that they make in their learning, in their life, as a parent, as a teacher, celebrate their progress. Celebrate the effort that they are making every day to get there. Okay. And expose them to different things, because right now we are living in a world which is so volatile, so dynamic, so full of opportunities. Your children are going to take care of the world 10 years from now, 15 years from now, a world that you and I haven't seen. So what is that we need to do? We need to prepare our children for a future that we have not yet seen, a career that we don't know yet exists. So give them a lot of exposure, build the skills, give them right attitude. Always keep a check on the device that they're using, what they're using, where they're using, how much of time they're using. Have a friendly check on them. It's very, very important to keep checking, not to intrude their privacy, but to make sure that your child is safe while using this device is very important. At whatever age your child is, it could be a teenager, could be a younger child, whatever age the child is, always have the communication open. Always try to find out from them, what do they do on phones, which all device, sites they visit, which all social media they are in, what all do they share, do they find anything uncomfortable on those devices. Give them that freedom to talk to you. And also tell them that it's absolutely okay to fail. Yes, as a parent and as teachers, we need to normalize this word called failure or fail, because the failing is as always a learning experience. Just because I haven't got a good grade in a particular subject does not mean I am a disaster. I have certain other skills that I can do better than anybody else. So please tell your children that it's okay to fail, but to make sure that they learn their lessons from that failure and not repeat those failures, and turn those failures as stepping stones to their next part of life. So it's okay to fail. As parents, as teachers, as administrators, make sure that your children do not be scared to fail. And just because they are scared or afraid to fail, they will not try out new things. And it's very important for them to try out new things. So it's very important for you to identify each child's potential and promote the skills. But moreover, what you see on your screens are basically the 6 important 21st century skills that all your children should have: critical thinking and problem solving, creativity and innovation, communication and collaboration, information literacy, media literacy, and flexibility and adaptability. So make sure that they're not just mugging up their textbooks and preparing for exams and getting marks by just, a rote learning, but expose them to different skills and activities, different people, ask them to network, learn from different age group, and be people who can communicate and who can work with other people. It's very important. The ability to work in a team is very important these days. And because of nuclear families these days, people are self-centered. They don't want to share what they know. We are so much married to our ideas that we are afraid of sharing our ideas. We are so insecure. And sometimes unknowingly, we pass that insecurity to our children also. Tell them that it's okay. If you have an idea, go ahead, share it with your friends, see what they have to say about it, build on it. Okay, you learn more. And information literacy and media literacy cannot be overlooked. You cannot tell your children, you cannot use your device, you cannot use your laptops, you cannot use internet, you cannot use your mobile. You cannot say that, because today's children need to use all of these. But how to use that judiciously, that you can definitely guide them. And being flexible and adaptable in all their dealings is as much as important, because as parents and teachers, we know that life doesn't always work the way we want it to work. So it's very important to display flexibility and to have adaptability in our lives. And that's something very, very important to have. They always say while recruiting these days that we recruit people with the right attitude, because skills can be taught. And that's a right approach towards that. Okay. Now, an action plan for balancing your work, your personal life and parenting, because most of us are so involved in so many different things. What is your current involvement with your child? You have to first find out how much time do you usually spend with your child. You have to reflect on that first. You have to prioritize and then find out a schedule where you have the child as a very important part. We'll all have to manage time, because all of us are given with 24 hours. And how we use this 24 hours is in our hands. We cannot say that, oh, I'm very busy, I don't have time for this, or I don't have time for that. No, we cannot say that. So we have to effectively manage our time so that we have proper time for our children. Open communication and collaboration, we have always said that. If possible, right now, a lot of flexible work arrangements are there for parents, work from home, 3 days a week, 2 days a week. So if you have that work arrangement, good for you. If you don't have, like for all of us who are full-time working and we just probably have a weekend, we need to find out maybe a meal time together or a prayer time together, or some time where all the family would come together and sit down and talk, just talk without any devices. Okay. And as we always say, we cannot pour from an empty cup. As parents, it's very important for you to pour into your cup first. Take care of your own self. Do things that makes you relaxed, happy. After coming back from work, you need to relax. You need to be in that state and space of mind where you're ready to talk to your children, where you can take your office out and put your family in. And then you spend time with your children. And if you're not able to work out, have a work-life balance, you can always reach out to people who can help you achieve a work-life balance. And it's a regular process of reevaluating and adjusting. What works for my family may not work for you. What works for my child may not work for you. So you will have to find out your own ways of finding a balance and spending time with your child. And as we always say that each child is unique. So each parent is also unique. So what I just now I said that what works for me may not work for you, and what works for you may not work for me. So we will have to find our own balance of what works for our children. Okay, that's how we can plan. And there are times where you would feel that, okay, I've done an excellent job as a parent. And there are times where you feel that I was a total disaster. It's absolutely fine, because your best looks different at different days. And that's because you're a human being and not a machine. So it's absolutely okay if there are times where you feel hopeless, disheartened, that's fine. Tomorrow is another day, so you can again start. All right. So I'm about to finish my session, just a couple of slides more. So today's my message to you would be, you're your child's first teacher and biggest supporter. Please provide a safe and a nurturing environment for their growth and development. Offer opportunities for learning and exploration. Try to find out their unique strengths and interests and try to promote it. I read somewhere where it said that if your child is a C grade in maths and a star in tennis, you should appoint a coach for tennis rather than putting your child for a maths tuition. That's it. You have to find out your children's strength and interest and, encourage them to do that. And above and all, your life, your guidance and your encouragement for your children is the most crucial thing. Okay. You can set them up for the success in life by the belief that you have in them. And your efforts will make a difference in their life. Believe me when I say this, because I know adults who still seek validation from their parents. who still wish if my father would have accepted me, if she would have encouraged me. So today, if all of you are here for just this 1 hour, looking forward to see what all you can take away from this session, it is because you're interested in your child's overall development. Keep up that great work. And just as I said in the beginning, parenting does not come with a manual. Each child is unique, each parent is unique, and you have to celebrate the uniqueness of your child. And as I say, wind up these session, this is what I want to tell all of you. Celebrate and accept your children for who they are and guide and support them to become who they could be. This is very, very important. And leaving you with a note from Khalil Gibran, your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of lives longing for itself. They have come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backwards, but tarries with yesterday. Khalil Gibran. So thank you everyone for listening to me for around 45 to 50 minutes and for being with me. I hope there was something that you could take away from today's session. And I hope you know that your minds are powerful. You are powerful. So you can do a lot for your children. So that's it from my side. And over to you, Alka.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. And if anyone has any question, you can ask.
Thank you, everybody. Is there anything that you would like to ask? I'm not a counselor, as I said in the beginning. And despite all the titles that Alka spoke about me, I spoke to you from my experience of being a mother of 2 young boys and for being an educator for past 20 years. I have dealt with children of all age groups, and I know I'm sorry, Hindi mein pata nahi. I don't know how many of you are all comfortable. For me, Hindi is fine. Next time, we'll make sure that there is a mix of Hindi and English, and we'll check out with the audience before our session. Attention span, there are a lot of, I'm sorry, I missed that question. Know that attention span of a child or it cannot be more than 10 to 15 minutes, after 10 to 15 minutes, it just transports to somewhere else. So you need to keep diverting their attention every 10 to 15 minutes and bring them back after that, burst of energy. Like in classrooms, what we do is, after we have taken a session for 10 to 15 minutes, we do an energizer, we ask questions, we make them stand up, we make them do some activities. Similarly, like that, you can do something like that and bring back your child's attention back to your whatever you are trying to do. I hope that answers your question, shall we? थैंक यू सो मच मंजू जी. अगर मेरे को पता रहता कि आपको हिंदी में सुनने से ज्यादा फायदा होगा तो आई वुड हैव इंट्रोड्यूस्ड अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ हिंदी आल्सो, बट आई एम श्योर दैट आई वाजंट too tough on you and you were able to follow what I said. Thank you so much. Coming from a counselor, this is a huge honor for me. How to help below performers? See, every child's academic level is not the same. Okay. So NEP, NCF, are you a parent, Shalvi? Are you a parent or a teacher? Because if you're a teacher, then we must understand that every child is different, and NEP, NCF, everything says that we need to have a differentiated teaching learning pedagogy and assessment for our children of different learning calibers. You cannot treat all 40 children the same pedagogy. You cannot use the same pedagogy for teaching. Okay, for parents. Okay. So parents, I think you first need to assess your child's strength and weakness. You need to talk to the teachers regarding which areas you need to work with your child, and then probably slowly start working with your child in that area. There are a lot of resources available on the internet also if you wish to support your child in those areas. I've shared my number. I'll just share the last screen once again so that if there's anybody who would like to take down the number. I say that I'm not a counselor again and again because I'm not professionally qualified to give you that kind of an advice. But as an educator and as a parent, this is what I would like to tell you. I'm there on LinkedIn and Facebook with the name Shibi Anand, and I'm on Instagram as by Shibi Anand. And the number over there is my WhatsApp number. So if you ever feel that you need some kind of a support or a guidance for your child or for your classes, please feel to drop a message with your name and place so that I know who is that and I can respond back to you. And yeah, that is it. Thank you so much for the lovely participation from all of you, because I really got a lot of energy from all those chat boxes. Yeah, see, there's this Rama ma'am here who said that she's an internationally certified counselor and she could help the parent who needs support with the any kind of support or hand-holding from her. So I think you guys can connect to her as well. Before we go off, I would personally like to thank Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham and EduDos for giving me this opportunity to speak to this lovely parent-teacher crowd and for sharing whatever I know with you people. I hope there's something that at least there's one thing that you take back home today and try to apply in your life. I think that would be, because I cannot claim to change any of you or your parenting styles or your teaching styles in 45 minutes. That's impossible to do. But if you could just imply or implement one thing from this session, I think that would be wonderful, and that would be the true gratitude for me. Somebody wanted a number. Was it Rama ma'am's number that was being asked? Alka, I cannot go back in the chat box. Somebody was asking for somebody's number.
No, ma'am.
Shaji
I guess
sir.
Rama, ma'am.
Yeah, no, Shaji sir. Which number? Yeah, I think Rama ma'am has shared her number there. So you could probably take it. Yeah. And if it is mine, I would just put it in the chat box once again for you. If there's anybody who would like to take that down, you can take that down. Over to you, Alka, and thank you so much. Nandita ma'am
Thank
is
you,
still
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm still there, and thank you so much. A wonderful session. I definitely feel at the end of it, I have a 29-year-old child and a 27-year-old child, but I still feel that it's still so much to learn about parenting. There are many tips I picked up from you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I hope this is useful for all the parents and teachers who have attended this session.
It was.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
It was a pleasure to have you with us here. And I thank all the parents who are present here. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Take care and God bless you all. Alka.